Let's talk about a little bit on resilience and what resilience is. The question that everyone has is, this is a big word at the end of the day. If you can break down that to us.
I guess for me, resilience is about individuals and communities' capacity to respond to situations that arise. So it's about how a community, how an individual responds to whatever comes up in front of it. And in the context we're talking about with the tsunami operation, it was the events of December 2004. The waves came in, communities had houses washed away, lives were lost, livelihoods were washed away, facilities that people relied on weren't available. So how could communities respond to that? How could they recover? How could they rebuild their lives and get back to being healthy and being safe, being educated, being connected? So one of the things that we did is have a look at, of course through the tsunami operation programming, we ran a whole series of disaster risk recovery and reconstruction programs. And the fundamental in those was working with communities to help them re-establish themselves and all of those features that make them resilient. And what we have undertaken is a study, a massive study of the more than 400 projects that were conducted across the tsunami operation, specifically around disaster risk reduction. And we've analysed those and come up with a series of indicators which help us look at resilience and think about it in terms of that experience. And it's probably one of the largest, if not the largest piece of research that's been undertaken on this particular area. And what it's shown us is that there are 6 key factors that really tell us about resilience. One is about the knowledge and the level of health of a community. How knowledgeable are people about the services available to them, about their livelihoods, about how they are connected into their community? How healthy are they in terms of their connection to health services, to good medical services, etc.? How organised are they? How do they organise so that resources and assets are spread within the community and available to people that may need them? The third area is around connection. So connection and networks within the communities, but also connections with external agencies, whether that's government, whether it's other support services that might be available to help communities and work with them. The fourth is around infrastructure and services. It's fantastic to be able to be connected, but you need some basic infrastructure, roads, telephones, communication mechanisms, the ability for people to share information. Those are fundamental in terms of being able to have a working and functioning community at whatever level that is. There also needs to be the opportunity for economic development. People need to be able to sustain themselves, to advance themselves, to create a better future, and that includes having access to financial resources and opportunities for jobs. And lastly, the thing that the study identified is that a community, to be really healthy and resilient, also needs to be able to manage its natural assets, the things that are available in the local environment, the situation it finds itself in. We looked at communities across Sri Lanka, we looked at communities in Indonesia and Thailand, and we looked at communities in the Maldives. And many of these communities are very fragile, and particularly in terms of their natural situation. So it's been a very interesting piece of work, and we hope that it will take our journey on resilience and building resilience with communities a lot further.
You mentioned about the Tsunami program, which is when the Red Cross started thinking of resilient communities, rather increasing its support on resilient communities and making sure that communities are able to face disasters, future disasters. Right now, what are the core areas that the Red Cross is engaging in achieving that goal?
I think resilience is a fairly new term in terms of the work and what we do, but the Red Cross has been working with communities, helping them to develop their capacities and their abilities. Many would call it resilience for its entire history. It's about the capacity of a community and an individual to respond to their situation. And the Red Cross has been doing that since 1863 when it was first established. So whilst the term might be new, I think the work of the Red Cross gives us a lot to learn from our history and our experience. In terms of our key focal areas, we're interested, of course, in the usual pillars around health, in terms of disaster response and disaster preparedness, reducing the risks that communities and individuals are exposed to, helping them build their capacity to recover and respond. We're interested in promoting humanitarian values so that people understand and appreciate that individuals have a basic humanity and dignity that unites us and brings us together, and it's important that we promote that and encourage that. So the work of the Red Cross tries to tie all of these things together, and the Tsunami operation was a very extensive program, the second largest operation in the history of the International Red Cross, Red Crescent. Worked in very many countries, more than 14 countries were affected by the tsunami, and of course we also had the support and solidarity from people globally. More than 100 countries actually contributed to the work of the Red Cross through their national societies. So it's a massive outpouring of support in terms of our ongoing work.
As we go on, we have seen that the disasters that is occurring right now has a severe impact than what it had before, and we continue to see various new types of disasters coming in. So quality is quite essential in the delivery of our program. So how crucial do you see that element in our projects?
The issue of quality is one that we've talked about a lot the last few days. I think you're right. I think the reality is that the incidents, the amount of disasters that we're facing are increasing, and the impacts are increasing as things like climate change come to bear, for example. Communities are becoming more exposed and more at risk, and of course the most vulnerable in our communities are at more risk just because of their pre-existing vulnerability. So there's a real challenge to make sure that we're building in a way that responds to those needs, and quality is a key part of that. There's an old saying that rings true for me. People forget the time that it takes to fix things. People will eventually forget how much it costs to fix things. But if the quality is wrong, they will never forget that because they live with it every day. So in the tsunami operation, and particularly here in Sri Lanka, a very big part of our work was in construction-related activities, building tens of thousands of houses with communities. We worked building hospitals and refurbishing hospitals and health clinics and all sorts of other public infrastructure, water supply systems, sewage systems, etc. And the key is around the quality. Today I visited a wonderful community which is a great example of the quality of the work that the Sri Lanka Red Cross has been able to coordinate and deliver for the community that we visited. 72 families living in, it's 3 years since the project was handed over. People are living in a village, they've taken it as their own, they have community committees set up, they are sharing the costs associated with their community, they've got mechanisms in place, they've got information out so people can see where their contributions go towards meeting the costs of providing the electricity, providing the water, cleaning up around the place. It's fantastic. People are happy, they're smiling, they're sharing. We're seeing people from different backgrounds, different places and locations living together, sharing together, having a sense of their community. And that's what it's really about.
Those are actually lessons learned from the tsunami operation, this big operation in almost various parts of South Asia and Southeast Asia. Going into the new types of project, like in Sri Lanka, we are now it's not now, but we are scaling up our operations in the north with the IDP program now. What kind of lessons, crucial lessons, can we bring into those new projects?
I think there's so much that the Red Cross has learnt, not just through the tsunami operation, but through all of our experiences. And talking with the colleagues here that are working with this massive housing program in the north, I think it's fantastic to see that these lessons are being reflected. So lessons around engagement of community in the solutions, lessons around how we administer and manage our programs so that we're more efficient, and the money that's available to us is stretched further, we reach further, we're able to work more with more people as a result of being more efficient. Lessons around quality and how to go about making sure that quality is appropriate to the needs of communities.